Hi, boys and girls. My name is Miss Jennifer, and I am a teaching artist in the PACE Art program. Today, we will be working on a social living art lesson. We will be talking about different kinds of symbols, the state that we live in, and a popular food that we eat here in Louisiana, and it is called gumbo. The supplies that you will need today will be a white sheet of paper, a black or brown marker, and a variety of crayons. We'll be using different kinds of lines, shapes, and colors when we draw our picture today. We will also focus on directional words, top, bottom, sides, and middle. We will also be talking about sizes, large, medium, and small. So we'll begin our lesson today by talking about different kinds of symbols. What is a symbol? Well, a symbol is a mark, sign, or character that represents something. For example, a symbol of a flag represents Louisiana. And what do you think this symbol might represent? Well, if you said the football team in Louisiana called the Saints, you are correct. When you look at this fleur-de-lis, it tells you in your mind, that's the symbol of the New Orleans Saints. Good job. So, what do you think this symbol might be? Well, that symbol is sort of like peace. Pretty cool. Peace. Let's do it together. Peace. Very good. When we see this symbol, it automatically tells our brain that it represents peace. Now, I want to go down to the bottom right here. These are some symbols that are kind of new symbols, but symbols that I'm pretty sure that you use or you have heard of. These are called emoticons. They are symbols. When we see this heart symbol, it tells us, I love that. When we see this little face symbol, it's like, ha 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 ha, we're laughing, right? And how about, yay! Wow. Or sad. So these symbols are symbols that we use usually when we're like texting or maybe even on like Facebook. So these are symbols you probably recognize. Here, I have a dove that is carrying a branch. This is a symbol of peace. Let's look down here. This is also another symbol for peace. And here we have a heart in a hand, which also symbolizes love. So all of these symbols are important to us. There are symbols all around us. We use different symbols to help us to recognize things quickly. Just remember that each of these symbols symbolizes something, which basically means that it reminds you of something that is important to us in our daily living. I want to quickly go back to our emoticons. These are symbols that kind of show how we feel. So in our daily life, we even use symbols that show our emotions or how we feel, whether we're like happy or maybe we're sad or maybe like we're surprised. Those are all emotions and they have symbols for each of them. We use our emoticons to show how we feel about something. So for our lesson today, we are going to be talking about Louisiana. Now, Louisiana is the state in which we live. We will also be talking about gumbo, which is the food that is eaten here in Louisiana. If you look here, I have a couple of pictures of different kinds of gumbo. How many of you like gumbo? Raise your hand up high. Wow, that's a lot of you. I know that I like gumbo. To make a good gumbo, we need lots of different kinds of ingredients. You might ask, what are ingredients? Well, ingredients are the different things that you put together to make a gumbo. For example, here I have sausage. Sausage is an ingredient that we find in gumbo. I also have, what are these? Shrimp. Shrimp are also used in a gumbo. And sometimes people even use these. They are crabs. Sometimes they will take the shell off of the crab and put the pieces in the gumbo. But I have also seen gumbo where they take the shell off and they put the whole crab in the gumbo. So sometimes we might have a seafood gumbo with shrimp or crabs. Sometimes maybe even oysters. Well, we not only have sausage, but we also have chicken. Sometimes people make chicken and sausage gumbos. And there's another kind of gumbo that people often make, and these are little okra. Okra is often added to a gumbo to make okra gumbo. How many of you have eaten okra gumbo before? Good job. Sometimes people add bell pepper or hot peppers to their gumbo. Sometimes they even add onions. And one thing that's really important with gumbo is that you have rice. So now I want you to take some time and I want you to think about ingredients or an ingredient that your family might add to a gumbo that Miss Jennifer did not talk about when I was talking about the different ingredients used in gumbo. Let's do that now. Wow, I heard some really good answers. You see, not everyone eats the same kind of gumbo. People make it the way that they like it. Did you know that Louisiana is often called the Gumbo State? What that means is we have so many people from so many different parts of the world that come to live and visit Louisiana. All of these people bring and share what is important to them in the places that they are coming from. The word Gumbo State symbolizes or represents all of the people coming together from around the world. It is like the different ingredients that we put in a gumbo. So we may say that gumbo is a symbol of many people that come together to be a part of Louisiana. Now, I'm ready to start drawing. So what I need for you to do right now is I need for you to get your white paper. It doesn't matter which direction you put it, if you want to put it laying on its side, horizontally, or you could even put it vertically. It really doesn't matter. Today, I'm going to put my paper horizontally. Now, you're going to need to get your marker. You can either use a black marker or you can use a brown marker. I'm going to use a black marker today. So we're going to use our marker to draw, and then after that, we're going to color our picture. The reason that we're not using a black crayon to draw today is because when you color your different ingredients in your gumbo, sometimes the black crayon will kind of smear and make the color look a little bit dirty. So we're going to use a marker instead today. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to make is we need to make the pot. We make gumbo usually in a really big pot. Sometimes you can use a medium size, and if you're only wanting to make a little bit, you can make a small one. But I'm going to tell you, in Louisiana, we usually make big pots. Another thing about gumbo is that people in Louisiana usually make gumbo when it's really cold outside. Guess what? This time of the year is the perfect time for gumbo. So let's get started. I have my marker, and I want to draw my pot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start about right here on my paper. And I'm going to put another little line here. So I put one line on this side and one line on this side, noticing that I left about this much space on each side. What we're going to do is we're going to start on this side and we're going to go down and around using our curve or our cup line, and we're going to go around and connect to the little line that you made. That is the bottom of your gumbo pot. Now, we're also going to do something else. We're going to start at this dot and we're going to go all the way across and connect it to the other dot using a curved line to do that. Now, in order for us to be able to see what is inside of our gumbo, we're going to need to make this part look like an oval. So watch me. I'm going to start here and I'm going to go out a little bit and around with my curved line and back to the side. What shape does that look like to you, boys and girls? Now, I want to do that again. So here I'm going to make another one right inside. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It's going to be covered with ingredients anyway. So here's my pot. Now, oftentimes a pot will have a handle on both sides. So here I'm going to put a curved line on this side, and I'm going to put a little curved line here, right inside of that one. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side. All right, so now we have our pot with handles. I'm going to give you a little time to finish drawing your pot. And while doing that, I'm going to talk to you about a couple of different kinds of gumbo. Here on the top, there's that crab that I was telling you about. Sometimes they even put it with the whole shell. I wasn't thinking about that. And here it looks like some shrimp and probably some okra. Other ingredients that you can add to a gumbo are things like pepper, salt. Sometimes people like Tabasco sauces, like really hot, and they also add some of that inside of their gumbo. Here, this gumbo looks like green onions, shrimp, and it also looks like maybe some pieces of chicken. So that is another kind of gumbo. Notice how these gumbos are both different. And here at the bottom, we have a completely different kind of gumbo. What do you think these might be? Well, if you said they are sausage, you are correct. It is sausage. And what do you think these pieces of meat might be? Well, it looks like it could be chicken, but there are other kinds of meat that we did not talk about. Sometimes people use duck or even maybe like goose. So any kind of meat pretty much can be used in a gumbo. People get really creative with their gumbos. So here are 3 different kinds of gumbos. Now there's one ingredient that you might have heard of people using when they make a gumbo, and that is called roux. Roux is kind of like a mix of flour and oil, and they cook it together, and that's what they use to kind of make the brown part of the liquid in the gumbo, and that's what gives it that really good taste. So now we're back on to our pot of gumbo. All right, at the bottom, I want to draw a straight line on both sides. That kind of makes it look like our pot might be sitting on a stove or even maybe on a cabinet. Maybe the gumbo's already cooked. If you want to add maybe some lines around your pot, you can do that. And you can also even maybe add some lines to your pot. I think I could add some also on the handles, just like this. All right, now when we make a gumbo, we use something to stir the gumbo, and that's usually a really big spoon. So right here, I'm going to draw a curved line because I'm going to draw my spoon from that curved line. Now watch this. I'm going to draw a straight line and another straight line, just like this, one right next to the other. And then I'm going to sort of make an oval at the end, just like this. Now a spoon usually will have a hole in the middle of the handle so that you can hang your spoon. There's my spoon that I'm going to stir my gumbo with. And now we're ready to add the fun ingredients to our gumbo. I'm going to start first with something that I see in this picture. These are little green pieces of onion. So I'm going to draw it down here for you to see. So we're going to use an oval, and then we're going to put another oval inside, because when you cut an onion and all the little pieces come out the inside, it leaves you with maybe like a little oval, or another way is maybe even like a circle. It's up to you on which one you want to use. So here I'm going to put my little green onions. You can add yours. Good job. All right. Now the next thing that we talked about was the okra. Now when we cut okra, it sort of looks like it might be a bit round, but there are lots of little seeds inside. And the little seeds kind of go around in a circle. So that would be my okra. Also, sometimes people might just put a piece of the okra in, and it might look something like this. And so you could also put your okra that looks like that. So now I'm ready to put my okra. I'm going to make my circle, remembering to put my smaller circles on the inside. And how about another one right here? Now you can put as many okra pieces as you want in your gumbo. So now I have my onions, and I also have my okra. I want to now make something that looks like this. So if I use a curved line and another curved line with a curved line in the middle, what do you think that might be the shape of? Well, let's see. We can add a curve here, some little lines, and those would be my shrimp. How many of you like shrimp in your gumbo? Good job. All right, so now you need to figure out, where do I want my shrimp? Well, I think I want a shrimp right here. So that again is my curve line and another curve line. And then watch this. You're just going to connect it back together, just like that. And sometimes there's a curved line here and some little lines on the inside, which kind of shows where like the different colors from that kind of peach to white kind of connect together. You can add as many shrimp as you would like in your picture. Now, we could also draw chicken as maybe like just like pieces of chicken with like just wavy lines that kind of connect together with some little lines inside. Or you could also make a curved line just like this, kind of like you're making a raindrop or a teardrop, but you're not connecting them together. So there you go. And then we could use a straight line, and two curved lines. And that would be our chicken leg. So you could actually put a chicken leg in your gumbo. So I think I might put, I want to put a piece of chicken. So here's my piece of chicken. Remembering that if you want to put your chicken leg, you can put your leg just like this. You decide. Remember, not every gumbo is the same. Your gumbo pots are looking really good. I like the fact that all of your ingredients in your gumbo are very different. All right, the next thing that I want to add to my gumbo is sausage. And There's two ways also that we can make sausage. So we could make it like a long link, and now there's little pieces of meat and little peppers and things in our sausage, so we can draw all of the different ingredients that are found inside of a sausage here. Or you could also maybe use two straight lines and a curve on this side and a curve on this side, and you can put all of those little ingredients in it with some curves maybe here, and that's like just a little piece of sausage. I think I want to put a big piece of sausage. I like sausage right here. That's simply a curved line. I'm going to add my peppers and the pieces of meat inside of it, just like that. Now, as soon as you're finished with that ingredient, I want you to just add another ingredient. Just pick one that you would like to add. Maybe I would like to add a piece of bell pepper. It's like two curved lines together, curved lines at the bottom. It doesn't have to be really fancy. And that's like my pieces of bell pepper, or it may be even hot pepper. All right, so now I finished drawing my gumbo in my gumbo pot, and I'm ready to start coloring. And if you want to add things like maybe like peppers on the side of the pot, you can. Maybe you want to add a shrimp that fell out of the pot, you can definitely do that. So I'm going to start with my green first. And in my gumbo, I had some green onions. So get your crayons, and now let's color together. There's my green onions. And another thing that was green, and I'm going to pick a different color green, was my okra. Now, your okra could be green, or it also possibly could have some brown in it, because when they start to cook down, they kind of like a greenish brown. They also soak up the roux from the gumbo. So there you go. When I color my shrimp today, I think I want to use the color peach, because if you look here, they kind of turn a peach color, and so I'm going to color in my shrimp, just like this. Maybe I want to be creative, and maybe I want to add some little spots that are maybe brown to it, just like this. Now, I want you to look really quickly and notice that we drew our picture not that close from the top of our paper, but we drew it closer to the bottom of our paper. And we also made sure that we left space on both sides of our picture. And our pot, was it a large, medium, or small pot? I would say this is probably a large pot, but all of the different ingredients are smaller pieces that are inside. All right, and so I want you to go ahead and just color as you would like to color. Maybe look at these pictures to kind of get an idea of the different colors. The next thing I'm going to color is my sausage. And sometimes sausage is smoked, and it'll sometimes look like maybe it's got some red, maybe a little bit of brown. So sometimes we can use more than one color when we color something. As you saw in the okra, I used the green and the brown. The shrimp, I used the brown and the peach. And here, for the sausage, I used the red and the brown. All right, again, I'm going to go back now, and I want to add my little onions inside of my sausage. And I can maybe use some orange, the little pieces of meat, or like maybe some seasoning, or maybe like some orange bell pepper. All right, and then I want to, I think I'm going to use the yellow for my bell pepper, because in the picture that I showed you, we saw that peppers can be orange, yellow, red. They can be different colors. All right, and now I have my chicken, And my chicken, I think I'm going to color it, how about a light brown? Now, you're going to ask me, why are you coloring it brown? Well, the root that's in the gumbo will sometimes kind of sit around the sides of the meat, and it'll make it change colors. And so that's why I used a little bit of brown. All right, now I'm ready to color my liquid, or the kind of the watery kind of part of the gumbo with my roux. And I'm going to do that with a brown, and I'm going to color it just very lightly, just like this, around all of my ingredients. Some places I might want to put it a little bit darker. Maybe I want to put some little scribbles inside so that it sort of looks like the gumbo is boiling. You know, sometimes when it's boiling it moves and it kind of looks like it's darker and lighter in some places. All right, you could add some other colors too if you would like. And there, my gumbo is boiling. All right, I want to color my spoon, and my spoon is going to be a dark brown spoon. So there we go. Now remember, you can take your time coloring. You can always work on your picture later. So if you want to use a different color spoon, let's do that. If you want to take your time working on your gumbo, you can also do that. Now the next thing that I want to work on is my pot for my gumbo. And I'm going to color my pot gray, just like this. And I'm going to color the two handles first. And then I'm going to color the pots. And so, here I go. I'm going to color all of my pot gray. Now, sometimes gumbo can also be cooked in a black pot. That is very popular in Louisiana. And so there we go. I'm going to add some darker gray in some places on my pot, just like this. Now remember that gumbo is sort of a symbol of Louisiana. When we see gumbo, we instantly think Louisiana gumbo. All right, and then I want to add some blue on the top, some little wavy lines, because gumbo will have steam that will kind of rise on top of the gumbo as it cooks, and so you could add some steam to your gumbo. And the last thing that I have to color is my table, and my table is going to be brown. So I have light brown. I can go back and I can add some darker brown if I would like, and there you go. Now I'm going to use my black around the top of my pot just a little bit so that it looks a little bit darker than the bottom. All right, if you want to color the rest of your paper a different color, you can do that. And now we have our pot of gumbo, and we are ready to eat. I want you to remember that Louisiana gumbo is a very tasty food, but the ingredients in the gumbo are symbolic of the people of Louisiana. If you have more time, I want you to go ahead and finish coloring your picture, but you might also want to add some other ingredients to your gumbo if you have time. Until next time, have fun making art.